Well, I think finally the coaching staff has realized it's time to get rich with Rittich here. Now, it's time for another episode of... Hi there, welcome back to another episode of my Calgary Flames in 6. It's Brett Hornby here, and I apologize for being a little late with this upload. It's definitely been a whirlwind couple days here, as just got back from the 106 Rake up in Edmonton, and spoiler alert, the Calgary Stampeders won, and there'll definitely be some content on that in the coming days. And as you hear with my voice, I've been fighting a little bit of cold here, so if I'm fighting through it in this video and maybe cough a few times, to quote Brian Burke, I'll apologize in advance. So anyway, as I said in the opening there, I think the Calgary Flames coaching staff realized that right now riding with the hotter hand in net, and David Rittich has definitely shown that maybe he's ready to take over the net here in Calgary. But let's go over the recap here, and things have actually been looking pretty good for the Calgary Flames up to this point. And we're up to episode 5 here. This is when we'll cover games 19 to 24 on the 2018-19 NHL schedule here, and we're a little beyond the quarter-way point, first quarter, and American Thanksgiving here, and this is definitely the time of year that you start taking stock in what you have, and how much room you have to play catch up, because it gets tougher to play catch up in the league here. And actually, if you look at, I definitely enjoy watching. His name's called the Hockey Guy on YouTube here. I mean, he covers all 31 teams. I just cover Calgary sports here, but one of the videos he recently covered here is talking about where teams are at American Thanksgiving in previous years, and of all those teams that were in a playoff spot during American Thanksgiving, I think the last year was the year where 11 out of 16 teams that were in a playoff spot at American Thanksgiving made the playoffs. And usually most years it's 13 out of 16. So let's just take a stock into that, what that's worth. But that's you've probably seen a lot more teams making some recent changes here. So anyway, let's get back into the local hockey heroes here at the Calgary Flames, and I'll just bring up my notes here for episode 5 here. So if you go back to for this is game 19, Thursday, November the 15th. Excuse me. The Calgary Flames took on the Montreal Canadiens. That was a 7 p.m. puck drop at the Scotiabank Saddledome here. How we can summarize that game is that Matthew Tkachuk did score 2 goals. Mike Smith had 19 saves in the loss, but I think he allowed a couple suspect goals there. I mean, Calgary outshot the Montreal Canadiens that night, because Carey Price countered with 43 saves, and it's hard to say what Carey Price that we've seen so far this year, but he's rebounded a little bit from previous seasons. But the Flames did have a 2-1 lead going into the third period, and then guys like Jonathan Duran and Antti Lehkonen, or Tier Lehkonen, if I said his name right, scored the 2 goals, and that's what made Mike Smith look suspect in the third period. So eventually the Flames did lose that game 3-2, which wasn't a good start on this 6-game segment here. But the Montreal Canadiens they've rebounded a bit compared to last season. But if we get to game 20 here, this was the first Battle of Alberta that happened on Saturday, November the 17th. That was a 8 p.m. puck drop at the Scotiabank Saddle on Hockey Night in Canada here, and Battle of Alberta, Flames and Oilers, well, definitely lived up to it for the first one of the 2018-19 regular season, as the Flames did rally in the third period here. I mean, Sean Monahan did score the tying goal, and Elias Lindholm scored the 2 goals to go ahead and empty netter here. And it started off not good early because the Flames won this game 4-2, but the Oilers had a quick 2-0 lead here. Former Flame Alex Chiasson, who was on the Flames a couple years ago, and he actually was on the Washington Capitals last season and won the Stanley Cup with them. But he's been on a on a nice offensive drive here with the Edmonton Oilers, and of course this Connor McDavid guy also scored for Edmonton, so they had a 2-0 lead here. But Flames definitely fought back, and this game could also be remembered for Zach Kassian being public enemy number 1 here, because he definitely had a dirty hit on Matthew Tkachuk here, and both Zach Kassian and Matthew Tkachuk, had a fight here, and so did Sam Bennett, and that's definitely been a role that I think Sam Bennett is perfect for with the Flames here. I mean, he was drafted 4th overall in 2014 here, but he did show that in his Kingston Frontenac days that this is a forward that isn't afraid to chuck the knuckles here, and he's definitely been a nice fit on the bottom 6 pairing here, and I still say he's definitely someone that's worth keeping around to have someone who can provide energy and pot in a goal here and there. But I say Sam Bennett definitely showed his worth here, as the Flames did take round 1 of the Battle of Alberta with a 4-2 victory here. Excuse me. So now we get to game 21 here. This happened on Monday, November the 19th at the Scotiabank Saddledome with a 7 p.m. buck drop, and the Flames definitely had a big offensive showdown here as they scored 7 goals in the first half of the game. It was 7-0 for the Flames with still 12 minutes to go in the second period here. You got 4-point games from Johnny Gaudreau, goal, 3 assists. And Matthew Tkachuk had 2 goals and 2 assists here. I also can highlight guys like Sean Monahan had 2 goals and assist, and Captain Mark Giordano had 2 assists here. Well, it's also worth noting here is that Malcolm Subban, he was in net for all 7 goals here. And David Rittich turned away 20 shots in the win. I also should have mentioned that David Rittich also was in net for the game against the Oilers there, and proved to be huge there in the third period when when it was 3-2 there. So getting Richard Rittich, I think, should be a quote that we should start trending here. So that was definitely a big explosive showdown against the Vegas Golden Knights there on game 21. So game 22, this happened on Wednesday, November 21st. These games I was up on the road in Edmonton here, but my phone was going off like crazy again with goal notifications here as the Flames took on the Winnipeg Jets here, and this was the last game of the homestand, 8 p.m. puck drop here, and this was definitely a huge test for the Calgary Flames because the Winnipeg Jets are looked upon as one of the top teams in the Central and potential cup contenders here, and Flames did win this one 6-3. But what's worth noting here is that this was the second straight game the Calgary Flames put up 5 goals in the first period. And I saw, this ranks there with, the 1989 Blues and 1984 Edmonton Oilers that most recently had pulled off that feat. Were scoring 5 goals in the first period there. Dylan Dubé scored his first goal in the NHL here. Johnny Gaudreau, Matthew Tkachuk, Mark Jankowski, and Sam Bennett each had a goal and assist in this game. David Rittich had 30 saves in the win. And Connor Hellebuyck actually started in net for the Winnipeg Jets here, and then he got chased out of the third 3 goals here. So, definitely is one of the big surprises here is that the Flames definitely scored a big one here. And this was actually a 6th straight win for David Rittich in this as a starter here. So he's definitely showing that he's ready to take over the net here. So that was the game against the Winnipeg Jets here. So game 23, this happened on Friday, November 23rd, American Thanksgiving. The Flames were back on the road here, and they took on the Vegas Golden Knights again, this time at the T-Mobile Arena, a 4 p.m. puck drop, and I'd say the Golden Knights had a little ounce of revenge here on the Flames here, because actually the Flames got shut out here, 2-0 here. All I can really highlight here is that Marc-Andre Fleury had a 29-save shutout for his 4th of the season. Alex Took and Colin Miller scored for the Golden Knights, and it kind of got ugly at the end there, is that there was a couple scrums there at the end of the game there, but David Rittich still had a pretty good night, although he was kind of hung out to dry there, but he made 26 saves in the loss here. So his streak of personal winning streak of starts in the net ended there. In the last game here, game 24, was on Sunday, November 25th. This also was Grey Cup Sunday, so my focus was on other things that day. But the Calgary Flames had an afternoon affair at the Gila River Arena at 1 p.m. puck drop. The Flames definitely scored again, 6-1 victory here. And this was a big afternoon for being shorthanded, because the Flames scored 3 goals shorthanded in this game. First time they've done that, scoring 3 shorthanded goals in a game since 1997 here, November 1997. Highlight here is Noah Hanifin and Mark Jankowski. Each scored 2 goals there, excuse me. These were the first 2 goals for Noah Hanifin as a Calgary Flame. Derek Ryan and Mark Giordano each had 2 assists, and we can finally say James Neal here, who supposedly was one of the big free agent off-season signings here, picked up an assist, which gave him 500 points on his career, but we might have to start being a little concerned here with James Neal's production, as he's been struggling. Here's when I go over the stats here, I'll single out James Neal here, because he was one guy that we counted on to score some goals, and he hasn't done so yet, but fortunately he's still beginning offense in the top 2 lines here. And all this talk about David Rittich and Mike Smith here. Actually, Mike Smith played pretty good in this game. He had 28 saves for the win against his whole team, the Arizona Coyotes here. So, the Flames went 4-2 in this 6-game segment here. Although there was definitely some injuries that have happened throughout the 6-game segment. Both Michael Frolik, which is a lower body, and Michael Stone, the blood clot, have been both put on injury reserve. We don't know timetables for the return for either one of these guys. Michael Stone's was even more uncertain here, and even Bill Peters, he didn't come out unscathed in this 6-game segment here, as he took Bill Peters took a cut to the neck, to the chin here during the Arizona game, and had 8 stitches, but he didn't miss too much time there, so that's why if you'll see a little mark on Bill Peters' face there. But it was a freak accident there. Sometimes they always warn you at hockey games, pucks can fly out unnoticed, and fortunately it met Bill Peters' face here. So Bill Peters didn't miss any time, but from Stockton here, the Calgary Flames did call up defenseman Oliver Shillington and for Ryan Lomberg, which I find that, well, considering he's just, 4th-line grinder, chucks the knuckles here. So that's, where the Flames are at after 24 games here. And actually, after 24 games here, they're 14-9-1 for 29 points. That puts them first in the Pacific Division right now, which is kind of a pleasant surprise. I think the Pacific Division is definitely wide open here. I still think San Jose ultimately is going to finish first in the Pacific here, but I think after that it's wide open here, and I think the Flames have shown they have the talent to be able to be in the top 3 in the Pacific, because I think looking at the standings right now, and what many hockey pundits said at the start of the season, that 5 teams in the Central are likely going to make the playoffs, with the 2 wildcards being Central Division teams. So stay in the top 3, and we should be fine here. I mean, heck, first or second in the Pacific will give you home ice advantage in the first round, and we definitely can use to see a red in the first round here. So let's, before I look ahead to the next 6 games here, let's go over some stats here for the Calgary Flames. And what's interesting here is that the top 5 for scoring is pretty close here with the Flames here. Because if I bring out the Flames here in the regular season, when it comes to points here, both Matthew Tkachuk and Johnny Gaudreau are tied with 27 points. Sean Monahan's not far behind, but 26. And 4th is Elias Lindholm. And rounding out the top 5 is defenseman Mark Giordano. But if you go all the way down to 13th, tied for 13th, that's where James Neal is at points. He only has 5 points overall so far in the first 30% of the season here. When it comes to goals here, Sean Monahan's leading the way with 13. Then Matt Tkachuk has 12, and Elias Lindholm has 11. And then Johnny Gaudreau has 8. Rounding up the top 5 is Michael Frolik with 7. And when it comes to James Neal, he only has 3 goals, and he's tied there with Derek Ryan and Michael Backlund here. And we should hopefully we'll still set more goals from James Neal here in the near future. Then when it comes to assists here, actually Mark Giordano leads the way with 20 assists, followed by Johnny Gaudreau at second with 19. Matt Tkachuk has 15. That puts him 3rd. Sean Monahan 4th with 13 assists, and Elias Lindholm, is 5th with 12. And then if we're going to talk about James Neal, he's 16th on the team with 2 assists. Actually, rookie Dylan Dubé, Austin Czarnik, and Travis Hamonic, and that each have 3 assists, and Michael Stonium has 4 assists. So I still think we should still expect more from James Neal here, but who knows? Maybe you can pay off for us when it comes to the playoffs here. So now, if we look at the goaltending here, this is definitely still get interesting here. Is that when it comes to goals against average, 204 for David Rittich, 329 for Mike Smith, who is actually slowly going down here. Then when it comes to save percentage here, 930 for David Rittich, and actually Mike Smith improving a little, but still down at 883. When it comes to wins, I mean, Rittich is now leading the way. He's actually 8-2 as a record. He has 8 wins, and then Mike Smith has 6 wins, but he's 7-1 as well, and each goalie has a shutout each. So I just think when it comes to the goaltending right now, I believe that Smith is, I think he's still worthy keeping around as a backup, in case Rittich gets too tired or if he gets into a funk here. But he's a nice veteran still to have for the rest of the season, and possibly look at next season to have John Gillies here, or maybe Tyler Parsons or Nick Schneider here. So this might actually be going as planned with the Calgary Flames here of getting goaltenders up throughout the system here. So let's look ahead here for games 25 to 30, which will be episode 6 here. Game 25, Wednesday, November 28th. The Calgary Flames are taking on the Dallas Stars at home, 7 p.m. puck drop at the Scotiabank Saddledome. The Dallas Stars is definitely one of those teams that is in the wild card right now, and definitely be nice to collect points on them. Game 26, Friday, November the 30th. The Calgary Flames take on the Los Angeles Kings at home, 7 p.m. puck drop at the Saddledome. The Kings are definitely down in the bottom of the league right now, so we should definitely take advantage of them and collect points there, because we definitely don't want to be giving away points against teams that are way below us in the standings now if we want to maintain our position in the playoffs here. So game 27, the Flames go on the road here Sunday, December the 2nd. They go to Chicago to take on the Chicago Blackhawks at United Center. 5 p.m. puck drop. Chicago's another team that is looking like they're going to be down the bottom of the stands here, but it's going to be tougher to play Chicago in Chicago there. But we did actually win against them earlier this month at home. And then game 28, this will definitely be a tougher game here. Tuesday, December the 4th. The Flames go off to Columbus, Ohio here. Take out the Columbus Blue Jackets against the Nationwide Arena, and the Blue Jackets are looking good right now in the Metropolitan Division, so that could be a good test here for the Calgary Flames to see where they're at, especially on the road. And then on game 29, the Calgary Flames work their way back home on this road trip here, but first they stop in Minneapolis and St. Paul as they take on the Minnesota Wild. Actually, no, never mind. The Flames take on the Wild at home here Thursday, December 6th. And that's definitely another good test for the Calgary Flames here in the Central Division, as that's a 7 p.m. puck drop for the game against the Minnesota Wild here. One of the top teams in the Central right now that some pundits had either or, in the top three, missing the playoffs, wild card, but the Wild are definitely having a strong start right now and strong first third of the season. And then to wrap up this segment here, Saturday, December 8th, it's a Hockey Night in Canada, 8 p.m. puck drop at the Scotiabank Saddledome. Take on the Nashville Predators, and that's definitely another tough test here. So I think the first third of the next segment here, there are definitely points to be had here. And then the second half, there's definitely going to be a good challenge here to see where the Calgary Flames are at against tougher opponents here at the road and at home here. So that's my Calgary Flames at 6 here, episode 5. Special, fighting the cold, post 106 Grey Cup. Calgary won the Grey Cup this time, edition of the show here. So if you enjoy everything I do on my YouTube channel, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. And also, if you enjoy all my other content with my other sports that I follow, and scenery videos or moments at sporting events or personal vlogs here, this is all here on my YouTube channel. And as I always say, I'll see you at the next video, and hopefully I'm feeling a lot better here and give you better insights on what's going on with the Calgary Flames and Calgary sports in general. So I'll see you then.